All right, welcome to your deep dive. So today we're going to be looking at this excerpt that you sent in from Medium.
Okay.
It's an article called "What is Your Life Work? A Person's Value and Contribution to Society."
Right.
And it's by Frederick Osei-Manu, and we're going to be, really kind of unpacking his perspective on finding purpose and making a meaningful impact on the world.
Sounds good. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think the author's opening line is quite a hook.
Oh, yeah.
One's life work speaks for eternity.
It really does grab you right away.
Yeah.
What are your initial thoughts when you hear that? What does that kind of evoke for you?
Well, it makes me think, it suggests that our actions have a certain weightiness to them. Mm-hmm. What we do in this lifetime has a lasting impact.
Definitely. And I'm curious for you personally, have you ever thought about the legacy that you'd like to leave behind?
Definitely. I have.
Yeah.
I have. And I think this article might offer some really valuable insights into how we can actually shape that legacy.
Yeah. So a little bit about the author, just kind of frame things up.
Right.
Frederick Osei-Manu is a self-described author and speaker on Medium. Mm-hmm. And this piece really does kind of show his passion for helping people find their purpose.
Yeah.
He breaks down a person's life work into 3 key elements.
Okay.
Purpose, graces, and gifts. And I think those are really interesting. So let's start with purpose.
All right. So the author draws on the work of Miles Monroe, who defines purpose as knowing what you're made for and letting that be your driving force.
Yeah.
It's about understanding your inherent nature.
Okay.
And aligning your actions with it.
I love the analogy he uses of a fish.
Yes.
The fish just instinctively knows it belongs in water.
Right.
It would never even consider living on land or in the sky.
Right.
So simple, but so powerful.
Yeah.
So it makes me wonder, for you, what would you say is your natural element? Where do you feel most in your zone?
I think for me, it's when I'm really immersed in a complex problem, like analyzing data, finding patterns.
Yeah.
That's where I feel most engaged and energized, for sure.
I can definitely see that. And the author also highlights how understanding our purpose helps us to really appreciate our individuality.
Yeah.
That each of us has a unique role to play.
Yeah, I think that's fascinating because it challenges the idea that we need to conform to societal expectations or compare ourselves to others.
Yeah.
It's about recognizing our own strengths and leveraging those to make our own unique contribution.
It's not about fitting into a mold.
Yeah.
It's about carving out your own space.
Right.
Do you think that sense of individuality can ever clash with the need for collaboration and learning from others?
That's an interesting question. I think it's about finding a balance.
Yeah.
Embracing our individuality doesn't mean we isolate ourselves.
Yeah.
It's about bringing our authentic selves to the table while also being open to learning and growing from others.
Okay. Let's move on to the concept of graces. The author describes it as this feeling of effortless accomplishment.
Yeah.
Things just clicking into place.
Right.
Almost like a divine touch.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
He defines grace as a force beyond our conscious effort that allows us to excel in certain areas.
Yeah.
That sense of being in the flow.
Right.
Where things just seem to effortlessly work out.
Have you experienced that in your own life?
Oh,
Those moments where things just seem to fall into place.
For sure. And it always feels a bit mysterious.
Yeah.
It's like you're tapping into a source of energy or inspiration that's greater than yourself.
Yeah. Do you think there's anything we can do to cultivate that sense of grace, or is it completely out of our control?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
I think it's about being open to those intuitive nudges.
Okay.
Trusting our gut feelings and not overthinking things.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so the third element now, gifts.
Okay.
So the author differentiates between natural and spiritual gifts, right?
Yeah, he does. Yes.
So what are those?
So natural gifts would be those inherent talents that we're born with.
Right.
Things like musical ability or athletic prowess. Spiritual gifts, on the other hand, are those divinely bestowed abilities that empower us to serve others.
Okay.
Things like empathy, leadership, or a talent for teaching.
He talks about being blown away by gifted individuals.
Yeah.
Like Usain Bolt's speed or the power of a well-written book. What inspires awe in you?
I am always in awe of great teachers, those individuals who can take complex concepts and break them down in a way that is clear and engaging and inspires a love of learning.
Yeah.
I think that's a truly remarkable gift.
I agree. It takes real talent to make something really complicated feel accessible.
Yes.
The author makes the point that it's not enough to just possess these gifts, we have to cultivate them.
Right.
It's like having a seed, you need to nurture it for it to grow.
Absolutely. He stresses the importance of training, honing our skills, and dedicating ourselves to developing our gifts to their full potential.
Okay, so we've kind of gone over the purpose, graces, and gifts.
We have.
I'm really curious to hear how the author ties all of this together.
Okay.
To define life work. I have a feeling it's going to get really interesting.
Okay.
Okay, so we've laid the groundwork, purpose, graces, gifts now. How does the author weave all of this together to define life work?
Well, he suggests that our life work, the value and the contribution that we bring to the world is a culmination of these three elements.
Okay.
All working in harmony.
Yeah.
It's about aligning our actions with our purpose, recognizing and leveraging those graces that we've been given, and dedicating ourselves to developing our gifts.
And it's such a powerful message because it really does suggest that everybody has the potential to make a difference. It's not about achieving some arbitrary definition of success,
right?
But rather like finding fulfillment in expressing our unique selves.
Yeah, that's exactly what struck me about this.
Yeah.
It really shifts the focus from external validation to internal alignment. So success becomes about how effectively we're using our gifts to contribute to the world around us.
Okay.
Not just accumulating accolades or possessions.
So it's not about being the best, it's about being your best.
Right.
I like that.
Yeah.
But I'm curious, he mentions that our life work speaks for eternity.
Yeah.
That can feel like a lot of pressure.
It can.
How can we balance that ambition for a lasting impact with the reality of our everyday lives and challenges?
Well, I think the author kind of gives us a clue in his emphasis on purpose.
Okay.
When we're deeply connected to our purpose, our actions naturally carry more weight, more meaning. It's not just about what we do, but why we do it.
So it becomes less about striving for some grand future impact and more about finding that fulfillment in the day-to-day actions that align with your purpose.
Yeah, precisely. It's about recognizing that even small acts, when they're driven by purpose, can ripple outwards and contribute to something much larger than ourselves.
I like that it makes the idea of leaving a legacy feel more attainable, more grounded in the present moment.
Right.
You mentioned that you're really drawn to problem solving and you're clearly gifted in that area. How do you see that connecting to this whole concept of life work?
Well, for me, it's about using my analytical skills to tackle challenges that have a positive impact on the world. So that could be anything from finding solutions to environmental problems to helping organizations operate more efficiently and sustainably. It's about channeling my natural inclination for problem solving into something meaningful and impactful.
It's interesting because the author also touches on this idea of divine touch or grace.
Yeah.
Do you see a connection between that concept?
I do.
And the way that you approach problem solving? Is there a sense of intuition or even serendipity involved?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I often find that the most elegant solutions emerge when I step back and allow space for intuition. It's not always about brute force logic.
Right.
Sometimes it's about trusting that still small voice that guides us toward the right path.
That's a fascinating perspective. It suggests that there's a deeper wisdom at play, something beyond our conscious control.
Yeah.
That can guide us towards our most impactful contributions. It makes me wonder if the author sees a distinction between success and fulfillment.
Oh, interesting.
Are they the same thing, or is there a subtle difference?
Oh, I think the author implies that true fulfillment comes from aligning with our purpose, regardless of those external markers of success.
Okay.
We might achieve great success in a field that doesn't resonate with our core values, but it might not bring us lasting fulfillment.
So you could be successful, but not feel fulfilled.
Exactly.
And not
The fulfillment arises from that deep sense of alignment between who we are and what we do, from expressing our unique gifts in service of something larger than ourselves.
This whole conversation is making me rethink how I view success,
Yeah.
It's so easy to get caught up in that external validation.
It is.
But what if true success is more about internal alignment?
Yeah, I think that's a really valuable shift in perspective. It allows us to define success on our own terms, based on our own values and aspirations rather than on those external benchmarks.
It's like the saying, find what you love and let it kill you.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not about letting it kill you, but letting it consume you in the best way possible.
Yeah. I like that passion and purpose are powerful forces. They fuel our efforts and sustain us through the inevitable challenges we face along the way.
So if someone is feeling lost or uncertain about their life work,
yeah,
where do they even begin?
Right.
How do they uncover their purpose? How do they recognize their graces? How do they identify their gifts?
Yeah, that's a question that a lot of people grapple with. You know, where do you even begin?
Yeah. So what are some practical steps that someone can take to start uncovering their purpose and aligning with their life work?
Well, it's a journey of self-discovery, and there's no one-size-fits-all answer, but I think it starts with introspection.
Okay.
You know, really taking the time to reflect on your values, your passions, your experiences. Yeah. What activities bring you joy? What problems are you naturally drawn to solving?
Yeah.
What makes you feel most alive?
It's about connecting with that inner compass, right?
Exactly.
And not letting external pressures dictate your path.
Yeah, it's about tuning out the noise and listening to that inner voice that guides us toward our authentic selves. You know, it can also be helpful to explore different fields, experiment with new skills, and connect with people who are doing work that inspires you.
So it's a process of exploration and experimentation. It's not like purpose just hits you over the head one day.
Exactly. It's often a gradual unfolding. You know, a series of discoveries and adjustments as we learn more about ourselves and the world around us. Okay. The author also emphasizes the importance of recognizing and leveraging our graces, those moments of effortless accomplishment that seem to come from a higher source.
I'm curious about that. Like, it sounds almost mystical. How can we be more attuned to those graces in our lives?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
I think mindfulness definitely plays a role.
Okay.
It's about paying attention to those moments when things just seem to click into place. When we feel a sense of flow and ease in our actions.
Yeah.
It's also about being open to serendipity, you know, trusting that the universe might be conspiring to guide us towards our highest potential.
It's like surrendering to the process, trusting that we're not always in control.
Yeah.
Which can be a little scary, but also kind of liberating.
It can.
And what about the development of our gifts? The author's pretty clear that, you know, simply possessing talent isn't enough.
Right.
We have to cultivate those gifts, nurture them.
Absolutely. He stresses the importance of training, practice, and dedication. It's like a muscle. The more we use it, the stronger it becomes.
It's also about finding mentors, seeking out feedback, and constantly striving to improve our craft.
Yes.
It's interesting to think about all the different elements that contribute to life work.
Yeah.
The inner work of self-discovery, the outer work of skill development, and this element of grace that seems to bridge the gap between the two.
Yeah. It's a beautiful tapestry, isn't it?
Yeah.
And each thread is essential to the overall design.
Yeah.
You know, as the author suggests, that when we weave these threads together, we create something truly meaningful, something that not only fulfills us personally, but also contributes to the greater good.
This has been such an insightful deep dive.
It has.
The author's perspective on life work is both empowering and thought-provoking. It's a reminder that we all have something unique to offer the world.
Yes.
And that our contributions, no matter how big or small, can have a lasting impact.
I completely agree. It's a call to action, to align with our purpose, to cultivate our gifts, and to embrace that journey of becoming the best versions of ourselves.
And to remember that our life work speaks for eternity. So what message do you want yours to convey?
That's a question worth pondering.
Yeah.
I think mine would be a message of curiosity, compassion, and a relentless pursuit of knowledge in service of a better world.
That's beautiful. Well, thank you so much for sharing your insights.
Well, it's been a pleasure.
And expertise today. It's been a pleasure diving deep with you.
The pleasure was all mine. It's always a joy to explore these profound topics and uncover new perspectives.
And to you, dear listener, we hope this deep dive has sparked some new ideas and inspired you to consider the legacy you want to leave on the world. Remember, your life work is a journey, not a destination. Embrace the process, trust your intuition, and never stop learning and growing. Until next time, keep diving deep.